Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out to the second in our series of 5 Worcester Municipal Election candidate debates. Tonight, it's the candidates for contested district school committee. My name is Michael McDermott. I'm executive editor of the Worcester Telegram and Gazette. I'd like to thank our co-sponsors this evening, the Worcester Regional Research Bureau, Paul Matthews, Eric Nealon, and their colleagues, who really do the bulk of the work organizing these events on behalf of the people of Worcester. Also, a special thank you to Mechanics Hall for hosting these forums once again this year. For us at the Telegram and Gazette, covering city government is an essential part of what we do. We're proud to co-sponsor these debates as a way to help voters make informed decisions about these local offices. You know, sometimes when you read about the chaos that's going on in national government, it can be easy to feel powerless. But when it comes to municipal government, democracy still works. I really believe that. We want people to be a part of it, and these debates are a tool to help them do so in a more educated fashion. With us here tonight to that end, we have our education reporter, Jesse Collings, as well as our visuals chief, Rick Sinclair. Tomorrow morning, you'll be able to find a complete story as well as the full video of tonight's debate on telegram.com without any paywall restrictions. Now, without further ado, I'd like to call to the podium Megan Montaner, Executive Director of Mechanics Hall, to say a few words. Megan.
Thank you. Good evening and welcome to Mechanics Hall. It's my pleasure to welcome the Worcester Regional Research Bureau and the Telegram and Gazette and tonight's candidates to our space. Mechanics Hall in Worcester isn't just a performance venue, it's a living symbol of civic engagement. Opened in 1857 by the Worcester County Mechanics Association, it was created to empower working class citizens through education, innovation, and public dialogue. Throughout its history, it's hosted powerful voices like Frederick Douglass and Susan B. Anthony, making it a stage for key social reforms. Today, we open our doors to town halls, nonprofit events, and cultural forums that bring the community together, demonstrating how a space can actively support democracy by connecting citizens to causes greater than themselves. We're grateful for the opportunity to host the city debates again this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. I should also say thank you to WCCA and to Ernie Floyd from Pride Productions for covering this debate tonight as well. Thank you all for coming out tonight, members of the audience, the candidates, as well as those who are watching online. So I'd like to now go over some of the rules of the debate. First of all, to the candidates, we ask that everyone respect each other, the opportunity to hear each other's perspective, and to honor the time limits on each question. To the attendees, please do not display signs or disrupt any of the candidates' responses. Each candidate will have the opportunity to make a 2-minute opening statement. After that, there will be 15 questions, which were developed by the Worcester Regional Research Bureau. Questions will be posed by our moderators tonight. The first candidate to answer each question will have 90 seconds to do so, and the remaining candidates will have 1 minute each. Following that, the primary respondent will have 30 seconds for a rebuttal or to offer final thoughts on that topic. At the end of the debate, each candidate will have the opportunity to make a 1-minute closing statement. Candidates will hold up signs to warn you when your time is almost up and a red stop sign to let you know if you've reached your time limit. If you see the stop sign, please stop immediately. We're going to be vigilant about keeping track of time for everyone's benefit. And now I'd like to introduce to you our moderators tonight who are giving up their time to lead this important discussion and keep it fair. First, Ben White, producer for Talk of the Commonwealth Morning Show.
Good morning, thank you.
And also Liz Hamilton, Executive Director of the Boys and Girls Club of Worcester.
Thank you.
And now the candidates. Running in School to Committee District C, we have Diana Biancaria and Fiona Jatan Singh. And running in District D, we have Kathleen Roy and Nellie Medina. So that's enough of me. I'm going to turn it over to the moderators and we can begin the debate.
All right, fantastic. Thank you all for being here. We really appreciate it. This is fantastic. We will start off with opening statements for all of the candidates, and each of you will have 2 minutes for opening statements, and we will start with Fiona.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Fiona Jatan Singh. I am running for Worcester School Committee District C. A little bit about my background. I was born in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I was born to 2 immigrants from Trinidad and Tobago. Both of my parents served in the United States Army, and they're retired veterans. I was raised in the town of Red Springs, North Carolina, and graduated class of 2000. I'm the first of the millennial generation. I moved to Massachusetts in 2004, married my husband that year, and then in 2010, we moved to Worcester when we bought our first house. I'm a mother of four children, ages 18, 16, 14, and 12. I decided to run for school committee to be a voice for the voiceless and those that are not getting their voices heard in the school committee currently. Thank you.
Kathy, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Good evening and thank you to everyone for having us this evening. So my name is Kathleen Roy, and I'm proudly running for re-election in District E on the Worcester School Committee. I believe our children are our future. I believe we need to look at school safety as the priority. I am a lifelong resident of Worcester and a parent of 3 daughters who have all graduated from the Worcester Public Schools. I have been married to my husband, who is my biggest supporter and fan, for almost 36 years. I believe that our kids in our community, some of them truly do struggle, not just with academics, but with feeling secure enough to learn. I noticed a growing number struggling with reading, writing, or even basic math skills to make change in stores. So I want to make sure that we emphasize that reading, writing, and math are important. And I also want to emphasize that school safety and mental health are of the utmost importance. And I humbly ask for your consideration on November 4th, and I am very proud to represent District D. Thank you.
Diana, your opening statement.
Good evening. My name is Diana Biancarrier. I'm school committee member for District C. I am passionate and love our community. I've served 6 terms as a citywide elected school committee member. In the last 2 years, served as District C school committee member, where I'm a lifelong resident. Educated in our Worcester Public Schools, District C is where my heart is. Re-election will allow me to continue my work, our work, building new schools, engaging in updating safety features, creating new opportunities. I have seen what good politicians can do and what we have gotten done working hard and together. Strengthening community bonds will provide many things: school safety, transparency and accountability, career pathway opportunities for every student. I've served on all standing committees presently as Vice Chair of Finance, Operations and Government, a great fit. I have 24 years of local bank experience in finance, working my way up to Assistant Vice President, along with 10 years as the Worcester Public School District Director of School to Career. I want to ensure our schools hold all the opportunities needed for our future, for our success.
Thank you. And Nellie, your opening statement.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nellie Medina, and I'm the mother of a 9-year-old boy who attends school in the building I did as a child. I'm the daughter of a teenage mom and a first-generation graduate. My educational journey has deepened my understanding of and strengthened my commitment to serving our public school community. As your District E School Committee representative, I will continue to uplift and advocate so every student has access to quality education and our educators have the support and resources and training they need to confidently support each student and each student's learning accommodations. Like most working parents, I worry about my child's education, especially as a mother of a child on the autism spectrum. I worked for a decade supporting Worcester Public Schools community. And for the last 4 years, I have led initiatives to educate parents and caretakers of students with disabilities. I love our city, I love our schools, I'm honored to run in District E, and I invite you to help me build upon the vision for inclusive, fully funded schools where our educators have the freedom and resources to teach and our students to dream, and our students have the confidence to achieve them. Public education is a working class struggle. Our families, teachers worry about the federal government's goal to divest in and segregate our schools. Its pro-charter plans to privatize education for profit, dismantle our teachers' unions so our teachers can't earn a living wage. We share the concern We share the concerns about losing our health care, feeding our families, paying our mortgages and rent, which is why I vowed to race to the finish line and give 100% to keep MAGA affiliates like the 1776 PAC that wreak havoc on school communities nationwide, aim to dismantle public education, our public schools, and communities. The same 1776 PAC that endorsed only one school committee candidate in Massachusetts who shares their vision. My competitor, Kathy Roy. Thank you.
Thank you all for your opening statements. This first question will be for all of the candidates. You will each have 1 minute to respond. After the question is asked, Kathy, you will start with your response. In your view, what is the primary purpose of public education?
The primary purpose of public education is to educate our students. It is also to bring them to make sure that they are well-rounded. When they graduate, there is hope for their future. There is also hope for them to be able to have a good job. I'm a firm believer in the trades in Chapter 74, and I hope that the primary role is that we graduate students who are well-rounded, have great community service spirit, and who are ready to take on the world and all the challenges that it presents.
Thank you. Fiona, you have 1 minute.
I agree with what she said. The primary goal of school for the education is to have well-rounded students that can make it in society, not only to get jobs, be business owners, start companies, be tradespeople, but they also need to be able to think critically and know how to work together with each other. School is good for education, but it should also be a place where kids learn soft skills, like how to work together with each other, how to brainstorm together, how to grow together, how to learn together, and not only how to learn basic math and English skills, but how to use what they're learning to better society. So I feel like school shouldn't just be a place where people can just learn something to get a job, but they should be also critical thinkers. Thank you.
Thank you. And Nellie, to you.
I'll dovetail off of what Fiona said. I think it's a place where children learn who they are in society. It's a place where they learn basic skills and dare to dream about who they'll be when they're older, which is why I support public education and our educators. Because if they don't have folks that resemble them in the classrooms, then they will not believe that they can achieve. Thank you.
Thank you. And Diana?
Thank you. We are looking at individuals to be prepared to function, contribute into society, not only to provide them with the skills and the knowledge for personal success, but to be sociable, be in the workforce, participate, enjoy life, have social skills, be team players. There is a litany of a list that is included on why we have public education and the purpose of it. And the main piece is we want to ensure that we have every opportunity for students and we offer the knowledge for personal success and to be team players so they can have an individual life and be successful, but also work with teams and be successful. As we're all sitting here this evening participating in an event, we want to ensure that we have students that can grow into that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. This question's first for Kathy. With probable budget cuts from the federal government and the state's undervalued inflation factor, WPS may have persistent budget challenges. What programs, initiatives, or line items do you prioritize for the schools in your district?
I prioritize, first of all, school safety, mental health. I also prioritize the fact that we have many programs that we do rely on federal funding for, and I hope that that's not going to be the case, that they're cut. I believe that we should prioritize education, again, the programs that reading, writing, and arithmetic, and I also believe that we have to keep furthering our after-school activities. But my first priority, again, would be that we make sure that we have all the classroom items that we need and that we have the tools necessary that our teachers need to be able to teach the children to learn basic skills.
Thank you. Nellie, You have 1 minute to respond.
Yeah, I think definitely our educators and our classrooms need resources so that everyone's successful. So I definitely make sure, I want to do an audit of Worcester Public Schools and the Special Education Department and the administration to figure out where we can, where we're spending too much, where we're spending too little. We need to do a deep dive, and we should do it ourselves to determine that in a comprehensive, sustainable way so that we know what needs to stay, what's working, what's not. But I think we have to have a further conversation, and we need the results of that audit before we can decide. Thank you.
Kathy, you have 30 seconds for a rebuttal.
Actually, I think I've said everything I wanted to say.
Okay, fantastic. This question is directed to Nellie. What is your position on the use of cell phones in school?
I think it's nuanced. Someone asked me the other day what it was. They said yes or no, and I said it's impossible to answer yes or no. I think that it depends on what grade level the child is in, but I wouldn't want a child who needs their cell phone to coordinate a ride home not to have it. And I wouldn't want a child who has diabetes or another illness not be able to use the phone for safety purposes. And I wouldn't want a child who can't speak English not to be able to open the application to communicate with their peers and educators. So I think it's nuanced. I think we have to have more conversation about it. But whatever's happening here is not unique to Worcester. So I would like to find out what other districts are doing and what has been successful, and then have community conversations with students and stakeholders to figure out what we want to do. However, I think the students should be a part of that conversation, and that they should always know what our expectations are. The whole community should. Thank you.
And Kathy, you have 1 minute to respond. 1 minute to respond.
My feelings are very strong on this subject, absolutely not, from bell to bell. The statistics are showing that in the school districts throughout the country that have said no cell phone use during the day, the children are communicating with each other. They are talking more with their teachers. They are making plans, weekend plans, talking, not texting. They're also taking out books from the library and the public library, school library and public library, on a more often basis. They're experiencing good old-fashioned talk and conversation and learning those social skills that are necessary to succeed. So I am not an advocate for cell phones in our school unless, as my opponent said, if a child is diabetic and they need their phone to check their Dexcom, then yes, absolutely, that needs to be looked at. And I also agree that children should have a say, and parents absolutely need a say. Thank you.
Nellie, you have a 30-second rebuttal.
I have nothing. Thank you.
Okay.
This next question is first for Fianna. With the end of MCAS as a graduate requirement, Worcester Public Schools Administration submitted a mastery-based grading policy that establishes a uniform grading standard across all high schools. Do you support the proposed policy? And what would you like to see in the grading policy, and how would you implement it?
I'm not quite sure I support the mastery-based policy, because many children have different abilities and different ways that they learn and different learning styles. I understand in a mastery-based curriculum, you can't move on to the next subject until you've mastered one subject, so they usually build onto each other, so you can't move forward if you haven't gotten something. But what I would propose, and I was at an event a few days ago where there was a community roundtable discussion about what we would like to see going forward, and what I propose is a project-based learning model. My children were homeschooled, and then they went to a private school, and the private school did have a project-based learning model before they re-entered the public school again. From 4th to 8th grade, my oldest daughter was in a learning-based, project-based school that was a very progressive private school, and the way that they assessed children's learning was they would have a project at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year. The end of the year project had to incorporate all the subjects. And by having a project-based learning, the kids get to learn deeper into the subject that they're learning, but they get to also show their skills in all the different subjects. They go into history, math, science, reading. All of these projects are intertwining all the subjects, where they can have a project where if the student isn't excelling in standardized testing, or they're not well in memorizing facts, they can still showcase showcase what they're learning through project-based learning. So that's what I would advocate for. Thank you.
Diana, you have 1 minute for response.
When we're looking at mastering-based grading, we are now, as a committee, moved it on to teaching and learning. And the reason we did that is because we need to have more of a detail. We need to have additional data to take a look at this. We also need to base it off of discussions and the benefits of how this will all take place and what it brings to the table, the timelines and some community input. Example of where this is working also, we've asked these questions, we did have it in different committees, we have discussed some of it, but as I look at this, I don't think we should be in a rush. I think we need to set up what we need to do with the idea that we have examples, so we have the proper information, and we also have everyone at the table to discuss it.
Deanna, you have 30 seconds for rebuttal.
I just want to reiterate again, I've personally have experience with, when I homeschooled, we used K-12 curriculum, and in K-12 curriculum, it is a mastery-based program, and I remember my daughter in kindergarten, when she'd gotten something wrong, having a meltdown because she got one question wrong. In a mastery-based curriculum, if you have 3 questions and you get 1 wrong, you failed automatically. And so some kids are really sensitive to being told they failed for just getting 1 thing wrong. So that's why I'm against the mastery-based curriculum.
This question will be for Diana. Many Worcester families worry about immigration and customs enforcement activity in the community, which can create fear and impact student attendance and engagement. What role should the school committee play in ensuring Worcester Public Schools remain safe, supportive, and welcoming environments for our immigrant children and their families?
I find this a very interesting question. Last night, if anybody had the opportunity, they took a look at the city council. They had a lengthy discussion in reference to this. Under our school system presently, we have protocols that are strict and they are followed. We've also trained our staff, and that's what we needed to do up front. When we look at everyone in our schools should feel as though they are safe. We have to follow the law, and everyone is welcome. We also have to look at how we are communicating that factor to our community. And that has to be a clear communication from the city council and from the school committee members, along with every school. And every school has a different setup for entering, for exiting. Taking a bus, transportation is a piece of this also. So the protocols need to be followed, number 1. And number 2, everybody in the city should feel safe. We have a great city. Our city council is not putting this down, not shying away from it. They have a vision, they're working on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Fiona, you have 1 minute to respond.
For safety, this is a big issue for me because the main reason I'm running is because I see children walking on unsafe roads to get to school every single day. On the way to my kids' school, I drive on Sunderland Road, and I see these kids walking to Roosevelt School on a daily basis in a dangerous road where there is no sidewalk. And because they live within a 2-mile radius, they can't ride a bus to go to school. So I would advocate, number 1, that we have sidewalks on all the roads within a 2-mile radius of every school in the city. Because all across the city, there are children walking to school in roads with no sidewalks, and it is not a safe city because no kids have safe routes to walk on to get to school. That's number 1. Number 2, there was already a safety audit done, and I've talked to several educators in this community, and they were telling me that their school classroom doors don't even lock properly. They're like, we're doing these safety drills in the school and pretending there's an active shooter, and our doors don't even lock properly. Some of them, the exterior doors to the buildings don't lock properly. So I have been told from many educators that they would like to have not only the safety audit done, but actually make the school safe. So that was something I would advocate for. Thank you.
Diana, you have a 30-second rebuttal.
We have all advocated to continue to have our schools safe. We worked all summer and over the last year and a half with the safety audit to ensure that every school, every classroom has locks, every school has new front doors, new locks on their front doors. We are continuing to look at facilities. You also have to understand you need funds to do everything that you are looking at and everything that is discussed. As far as sidewalks are concerned, we should be then talking to City Council. Thank you.
This next question is for Nellie. Debates over curriculum reflect tensions between community values, student preparedness, and academic freedom. What role should Worcester Public Schools play in teaching controversial or difficult topics?
Yeah, that's exactly why I don't want the 1776 Pact having their claws in our education system. We do not want to prohibit students from learning actual American history. There's an astronaut, I think his name was Guyon, and he was the first black astronaut to ever travel to space. And it wasn't until he landed that he learned about Harriet Tubman. And even though he was successful, he said this. He said, "I wish I would have brought her into space with me, because they transcend so many of the same values of overcoming obstacles and odds and reaching to your highest potential." I think that we need to not censor, and the people that want to censor, I want to know who they are, and I want to know why they're making the decisions they're making on our behalf. I think we have to have more conversations with communities to figure out what kind of American history we're going to bring into our schools. Our library should be stacked with books that talk about where all of us come from, and so should our classrooms. We should never shy away from history, because otherwise we're doomed to repeat it. Thank you.
Kathy, you have 1 minute for response.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Debates over curriculum reflect tensions between community values, student preparedness, and academic freedom. What role should Worcester Public Schools play in teaching controversial or difficult topics?
With sensitivity, and to realize that these sensitive and controversial topics are important to our children and our families. I do believe that American history needs to be taught, and it needs to be taught right away in 2027. That will be a requirement that will be implemented for graduation about American history. And I believe that we have to look at controversial subjects and make sure that we put it in the context that is age appropriate, and for them to know that it's okay to talk about these things, and let's have an honest, open and honest debate. Thank you.
Thank you. Nellie, you have 30 seconds for a rebuttal.
Yeah, I just think that's very disingenuous. When the 1776 Pact, one of their main goals is to segregate our schools and to take American history out of our classrooms, and so that our kids don't know our actual American history, and so that they have a harder time figuring out who they are, their contributions to society. So I think it's very disingenuous to say when the most horrible MAGA PAC in the country is supporting the woman sitting right next to me.
Kathy, this question is for you. Appropriate school facilities can improve educational outcomes for students. How should WPS identify, plan for, prioritize, and fund major projects? And with limited space and funds in the city, should the city discuss school consolidations in new rebuilds?
Absolutely, we need to discuss school consolidations and rebuilds. Worcester is becoming a very growing, very much diverse community, and we are growing every week, it seems. So we need to look at our student ratios, we need to be able to accommodate our students, and we need to accommodate their different learning skills, their different abilities, and make sure we embrace their diversity. And I also believe that yes, we do have to we have to build more schools as the community grows, as the city grows. So I think, and funding it, money is always an issue with everything. So I think that there are grants that we need to look at. There are community partnerships that we need to look at and see if we can get money in that's not necessarily coming from the state or federally funded, and see what our community can do for our children and our schools.
Thank you. Nellie, you have 1 minute to respond.
Yeah, so I advocated and I knocked on doors and worked with for years for the Fair Share Amendment. So I think we should look for statewide funding and figure out where there's some leeway and pressure our legislators. We're really lucky in Massachusetts to have legislators that understand the need for safe school buildings. So definitely, I think legislatively, not just local, but statewide and even nationwide funding. I also want to lean on that audit that we did for safety to find out which buildings are unsafe. It shouldn't be popularity. It should be which are the most dangerous buildings that are, and what buildings have asbestos falling on our children's heads. I think that's how we prioritize. We never put children, it's people before profit, always. And I think the problems we're facing here have been faced in other places. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We have to look elsewhere for solutions and then apply them in our own way here. Thank you.
Kathy, you have a 30-second rebuttal. 30-second rebuttal.
I have nothing to add, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, question 8 is for all 4 candidates. Diana, you will be the first to respond. With the shift to school committee districts last cycle, do you think the new model has achieved the intention of the shift? What do you see as the role of district school committee member? Who do you represent? Schools in your district, students, or voters?
Represent every single person that attends our school, 5,000 teachers as employees, our unions, all of it. As a district, for District C, I visit our 6 schools that are in our district, which are North, Worcester Technical High School, Worcester East Middle, Lakeview Elementary, Rice Square Elementary, and Roosevelt Elementary. Are my pieces of what I put on for the agenda just for those 6 schools? No. Do I discuss other schools? Absolutely. When you look at our city, it's a combination of a lot of things. We have 2 citywide school committee members. They're not able to do everything. So we have 6 that can make a priority of their sites, but that doesn't stop us from looking at what the other schools need when we talk about safety.
Thank you. Nellie, it's your turn.
Can you repeat the question again?
Yes. With the shift to school committee districts last cycle, do you think the new model has achieved the intention of the shift? What do you see as the role of district school committee member? Who do you represent? Schools in your district, students, or voters?
Yeah, so I was a plaintiff in the lawsuit that made the charter possible. I was an advocate because I believe that where we live and from district to district, the needs are different, and so are the divestment or privilege of each community. So I think it's important to have someone from said community to advocate and to reach out and to meet people where they are. For instance, I'm the only person who really has a special education platform. You know, I knocked on doors in my district and realized that at almost every block we had children with a disability or autism. So I represent all students, all educators, and the whole Worcester Public School community. I look to support from our constituency base for sure. But I definitely, I represent the most marginalized. I represent the foster children. I represent the single mothers. I represent everyone who belongs to Worcester Public Schools, loves Worcester Public Schools, and is looking to Worcester Public Schools for support raising their children. Thank you.
Deanna, you have 1 minute to respond.
Me? Oh, can you repeat the question one more time? Sorry.
Of course, it has a few
There's
different.
like 5 parts to the question.
With the shift to school committee districts last cycle, do you think the new model has achieved the intention of the shift? What do you see as the role of district school committee member? Who do you represent? Schools in your district, students, or voters?
Okay, I'll go backwards. So from the end, I represent everybody. It's not just the school students, it's also the parents, it's also members in the community. People that don't have kids in school are still paying taxes that still go to support our schools. So I represent everybody. Did the district separating into the districts, Yeah, it's complicated. So I understand the intention behind it because, yes, I agree with what Nellie said, that the people that are in the district would have a vested interest in benefiting, making things better for that district. But I also donate to clothing to Grafton Street School, which is technically not in my district. So I think the way the districts were drawn, it looks like gerrymandering, and I would rather the districts either mirror the city council districts or be straight lined instead of jagged edged all over, because the districts are not drawn very well. So I don't like the way they're drawn. But I do think that it would have better intended consequence if we had more people running. We need more candidates. Thank you.
That's right. And Kathy, you're the final one.
I proudly represent our students, and one of the groups that you didn't mention is the teachers and our paraeducators. I represent their families. I represent my constituents who, there are many grandparents. I've door knocked myself all over the place. It's a huge district. I have 11 schools that I visit on a regular basis. Once or twice a month, I meet with the principals, and we talk about what they need, like what is their wish list. And I try to go about in the community and get them things that they need. I feel it's important that we represent our children. I think it's important that we represent our teachers, their parents, the parents of our children, and I think it's really important that we focus on our community and what we can give back within our districts.
Diana, this question is for you. Do you support the current strategic plan, Our Promise to the Future? Is there anything that you would change or update?
Yes, I do support the strategic plan. It has 6 different areas. I think it covers a great deal. I also think that when we look at what our superintendent is bringing to the table, we have the opportunity to take a look at what he has for a vision and what we have for a vision. And I use that because that is how he presented, as the superintendent, what we were looking at. The areas cover every school, cover every area, whether it be education, whether it be safety, supplies, and so on. It also weaves together with our budget book that starts off with a zero-based budget book, and we build off of that. So to turn around and look at the strategic plan, it started a few years back. We have another year and a half to go with it. I think it's going in the right direction. We consistently look at it. As a school committee member, it's something that you use as a tool to see what direction we are going in for programs and how we look at what we are offering for opportunities for our students. And that's a major piece of what the strategic plan is. We went from 12 opportunities in career paths to over 30. So that was what I had promised and I had said I wanted to advocate for over the years, and it's quite an accomplishment as far as I'm concerned. Thank you.
Fianna, you have 1 minute to respond.
I do support the strategic plan. However, I would like to make a change. One of the big changes that I would like to see in our Worcester Public Schools is I think every high school in the city should have the same Chapter 74 programs. It is not fair that students at North High can only do a business or CNA, and then kids at Doherty can do engineering and XYZ, and then kids at Tech can have so many different things. I think every school should have the same programs and the same Chapter 74 programs and the same career path opportunities so that every kid in the city of Worcester can have the right to be able to learn whatever pathway their heart desires. I have a son who wanted to do engineering. He did not get into Tech, he did not get into Doherty, and he's stuck at North where there is no engineering program. That is not fair. It should be equal in all the schools. We should have the same opportunities. Thank you.
Diana, the final 30 seconds go to you.
Sure. The only comment I would have to add to that is you do have the opportunity as a student. We are not able to provide the transportation, but you can go from North High School to Doherty and have an after-school program. It can be also at Worcester Technical High School. So there are schedules set, so you have that opportunity to look at that field, if that is what you're interested in. It's a process. You do have to apply. You do have to sign up for that. But there is the opportunity for that.
Thank you.
The next question is first for Fianna. As artificial intelligence becomes more integrated into society, what's your position on the use of AI in our schools?
Thank you for that question. My daughter actually was on the Superintendent Advisory Council, and the former superintendent was educating the students on the importance of learning about AI, because if the students don't learn about it, then it will, in a way, it'll be hard for them to be able to compete in the workforce in the future, because so many jobs will be taken over by AI. So if the kids don't understand how it works and how to work with it, they will not be able to participate in the economy in the future, because so many jobs will be replaced by that. So they need to understand and be one step ahead of the AI. So I think that the kids should be learning about not just what it is, but how to use it, how to make it better, how to make it, how to be better than it. Because AI, what it does is it takes data from different places and it just regurgitates facts, but it can't create something new. So if the kids don't learn creative thinking, then they will not be able to outsmart the AI, and then they will be replaced by it.
Diana, you have 1 minute for a response. Diana, you have 1 minute
I'm sorry,
for a
I
response.
didn't hear. Okay, what I look at is how we are figuring that technical everything is what we are doing. So I feel as though the kids need to take a look at this. We need to train our staff on it. But I also think that we are limiting what we are doing if that's what we are going to concentrate on. So it can be part of what we do, but it shouldn't be all of what we do. And yes, it's going to replace some jobs, but robotics has replaced some jobs. There's other pieces to this puzzle. So you can perhaps learn something from AI, but you shouldn't be relying on it. And it doesn't necessarily mean that everything you're going to be doing is going to be filtered in that direction. Thank you.
Fianna, you have 30 seconds for rebuttal.
I don't have any rebuttal.
Thank you.
This next question is for Kathy. Do you support the current school safety strategy? And what are your top priorities for the schools in your district?
Thank you. I love that question. Yes, I do support the school safety. Based on the audit, there's a lot of improvements that need to be made. And again, sadly, it comes down to money a lot of times. But we do have to fix the locks on the doors. I do worry, you can say it won't happen here, but we never know. With a school shooter, we need to be prepared for any disaster that comes our way. I believe that we have to look at the school safety audit, and we have to make sure that we are doing everything possible. And I think we should appropriate more money in the budget to make sure that we are doing everything possible to keep our students, our teachers, our staff safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Nellie, you have 1 minute to respond.
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
You have 1 minute to respond.
Can you repeat the question?
Oh, of course.
Sorry.
The question was, do you support the current school safety strategy, and what are your top priorities for the schools in your district?
Oh, I do. I just want to add that never in the history of school shootings has a police officer ever stopped one from happening. I want to focus on mental health. I think that's a strategy to keep our educators and our students safe. I want restorative justice for our educators and the staff and our students so that they know how to get along and they understand conflict resolution. I also think that we should let outside providers into our schools to bring counseling services if we don't have enough counselors to meet the diverse and specific needs of our students, especially now what's happening with ICE, with anti-diversity, anti-LGBTQ+. We have so many students that are hurting, and so before we focus on school shootings, we need to heal our students and heal our schools and society so that they never think that that's an option, and instead they talk. So yeah, I think just keeping our kids safe and mental health is the #1 factor that we have to really think about. Thank you.
Kathy, you have a 30-second rebuttal.
I think mental I think mental health is very important that we need to focus on. But again, I do worry about the facilities, making sure that they have everything that's necessary to keep the building itself, the facility, properly safe for our students. Thank you.
Thank you.
This next question is for Nellie. Early education is the foundation for future success. What role should the school system play in strengthening and expanding current preschool programs and other affordable early childhood education opportunities?
I love this question. So I've been always a supporter of the Common Start Initiative and early child care initiatives, and also pre-K and universal pre-K. It's important for us, I think, as a society to make sure that we're educating the youngest and the most vulnerable students among us. We can do that on the statewide level. There's a number of initiatives that are ongoing now that we can tap into to support this effort. Right now, it's 5 years waiting list for just a voucher to go to an after-school program. And the only way you can get one is if you're on welfare. So it just cuts out the working class completely. So I definitely want to be engaged. I want to be involved. I want to educate our constituency on what this means and why it's so important. When we talk about safety, educating our children about their society, what's happening around them, making sure that they have an education base to defend themselves, especially with dangerous things like AI, is really important. But our children definitely need this early intervention, and it can only be done if we're legislating locally, statewide, and nationally for funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy, you have 1 minute for response.
I truly believe that early education is very, very important. Unfortunately, right now, we're only at 15%. One of the biggest problems that is happening, why it's not, is cost and space. We don't have the money or the space to promote our early childhood ed or Head Start programs. And I think that's something legislatively that we need to talk to our state representatives and our state senators to put forward bills to show the importance of early childhood intervention and early childhood learning. Thank you.
Thank you. Nellie, you have 30 seconds.
Yeah, the bills are out there. It's happening. It's been happening for years. The legislative piece is there. I would not be able to confidently say that I was doing a good job representing my district if I didn't know that these things were out there, with the need being what it is today. So it's very important for us to, as leaders and as representatives, understand the need and also what's going on around us to assist our community in achieving its goals. Thank you.
Fianna, this question is for you. Urban districts often face difficulty retaining teachers. Factors often include workforce diversity, compensation, and working conditions. What do you believe best motivates and retains excellent teachers?
Well, paying them a living wage would be one thing. Also, if they hired more diverse teachers, they wouldn't have such issues with working with students from an urban background if the teachers were also from the urban setting. So that's another thing. Also, training the students that, well, if they paid enough, then they would be able to get better teachers that would want to stay. There's so many things we could do. We could look at other places where they are having teachers that are staying. Like, for example, in Japan, teachers are paid as much as doctors, and teachers never leave schools. They work their whole life in the same school. So paying a living wage, hiring diverse teachers, having more supports for the staff. Like, most of the classes we don't have enough special ed teachers in our schools too. So I was a substitute teacher, not in Worcester Public Schools, but in a different school district in Worcester, the Abbey Kelly Charter School. And they, at that school, had separate teachers for special ed for the students that needed special ed and other things. Then I worked at a different school district, and I would see that many classes have like almost 50% of kids that are in special needs and only one teacher in the classroom. They don't have enough support. They need more support. They need to have, some kids need a one-on-one aid. You need to have a separate person for that kid. So we need to have more special ed teachers to help aid in those challenges that the teachers have in the classroom. Thank you.
Diana, you have 1 minute. 1 minute.
We are looking at 1,909 full-time teachers in our system presently. And once we give support, appreciation, professional development, we are looking at a group of people that we consider each time we sit down and negotiate a contract. EAW represents them. We sit with many thoughts of how we want to move forward in our school system. One of them would be to celebrate what we have, visit our schools, honor the people that are in our schools. Classrooms can be difficult regardless of what we provide, what the number of students are, what the student's background is. So we need to ensure that we have the tools that are there. It doesn't always come down to the dollar amount of what they are getting. Thank you.
Fiona, you have the final 30 seconds on this.
I think dollars do matter, because if somebody can't afford to work just as a teacher and they have to rush out and have another job after that, like most teachers do, then they can't dedicate the extra time that some students need for after-school help, for tutoring, for other project-based activities that they could be doing after school. Because if the teachers can't afford to do something else extra after, why would they do it if they can't afford to? So our students lack because the teachers lack. Thank you.
Thank you.
This next question is first for Diana. What role do you think standardized testing should play in evaluating our students?
It does play a part, but like anything else, it's not, it's one piece. There are a combination of what we should be evaluating our students on. Their skills, what they are doing as individuals, how they are working. Are they working with the teacher? Is there an area that they specifically need some help in? So the actions that we take and the skills that we provide to them should be able to make them successful. How we grade can be a variety of ways, and I always refer back to, anytime we talk about grading changing, whether it's the MCAS or not, you always have to bring in a group of people to discuss what actions you would like to take in order to be successful in the school system. It can't just be what I think, it's what my constituents think, what parents think, even what the students think on how they approach what they do for their academics. Thank you.
Deanna, you have 1 minute for response.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yes. What role do you think standardized testing should play in evaluating our students?
I think it shouldn't play any role. A lot of standardized tests are biased, and they're not fair for students that have disabilities, learning disabilities, English as a second language. It's a lot of the standardized tests are not fair. There are other rubrics that they can use, like the STAR method. There's online evaluations that students can take where they actually play games and they learn from the games, where they can also get evaluated by how well they know. Lexia is something that they used to use at Abbey Kelly. There's many different ways they can get evaluated without using standardized tests. So I don't think that should play a role in evaluating students. Thank you.
And Diana, you have 30 seconds for rebuttal.
No remarks, thank you.
Thank you all. This final question of the night is for all of the candidates. The first respondent will be Nellie, and the question is, the superintendent outlined his goals for the current school year. What are your goals for the administration, and how do you plan to evaluate his performance?
My goals are to strengthen, and thank you for this question, our IEP and 504 process to make sure that we're in compliance with these legally binding documents, that children with disabilities have an opportunity to excel. Right now, we're 7 points below where we benchmarked ourselves to be 2 years ago. And that's a conservative estimate. So I would like to see more resources for our special education paras. My son's school went from 3 classes of each grade from 1 to 3, and then it went to 2. We had 15 to 21 children, then it went to 26 to 32. We had one special education para and one para for each grade, and now we have one special education para for all 3 grades, 6 classrooms, and one para for 3 classrooms, 6 classrooms, 3 grades. How is that sustainable? I don't see any plan that's guidelined or written down going to make a difference in our children's lives if that's what we're dealing with in the classroom. So I would definitely take a look at that before we get sued. Thank you.
Diana?
Could you repeat the question?
Of course. The superintendent outlined his goals for the current school year. What are your goals for the administration, and how do you plan to evaluate his performance?
My goals go along with what Desi has provided us with as far as how we're going to be evaluating the superintendent. So we have a midterm and we have the end of the year. The categories are set up to review what has been accomplished, specific areas for those goals. As I had said earlier, Mr. Allen provided us with the vision to action. It's aligning with everything that we would like to accomplish in our district over a period of time. The only thing I would add to that is to ensure that when we look at what we can do, we also have to keep in mind what we have for a budget. Our school budget is larger than our city budget. We're up to $580 million now for a budget. So when we take a look at how we evaluate our superintendent, that does come into mind. But the evaluation itself is something that DESE provides to us that we have to follow. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy, 1 minute to you.
Thank you. I am very much looking forward to see how our Superintendent Allen grows in the future, in the years to come. I love what he's setting forth as goals. I think he's doing an amazing job so far. And how I would evaluate him is to see if our test scores go up, to see if our students are happy, we're retaining teachers, the teachers don't want to leave their positions, that our paraeducators are happy, that we're providing good guidance and counseling and mental health to our students. And that, I hope to see in the future, would be done by student and parent surveys, and have them have a say in how to evaluate him. But as of right now, I totally am on board with everything Mr. Allen has put forth, and I look forward to working with him in the future.
Thank you. Fiona, you have 1 minute on this question.
I think we could improve. I like what his plan is. I feel like we should have better communication between what happens in the schools and the parents. For example, the parking lot that was just built at Roosevelt was not finished before school started. No one gave any information to the people in my district when that was going to be done. Nobody knew. Everybody kept asking each other. Sometimes they were calling me, "What's going on with this construction? It's blocking the whole Sunderland Road, and people can't pass." And I even went to him after one of the school committee meetings, and I asked, "Mr. Allen, can you tell us when is this parking lot going to be finished?" And he at first said, "Oh, I feel like you're attacking me." And I'm like, "I just want communication. We need to have open communication because people need to know what's going on. And if there's not open communication, people don't feel happy, or they don't feel safe, they don't feel understood." So I feel like we need to have better communication between what's happening in schools and the community at large and everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it's now time for closing statements. And Nellie, you have the floor first.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, to put this event together. I appreciate it. It's really great to be able to reach out to constituents who maybe I don't meet at the doors or are not in my district. I'm very concerned. I'm concerned about special education. I'm concerned about segregation. I'm concerned about leadership that is not, doesn't have the best intentions towards our students, all our students. I'm here at this table because I am a mother who navigated the special education system in our Worcester Public Schools, and it wasn't sustainable for us. So I'm hoping to lend my platform, my experiences, and I have a lot of experiences, good and bad with Worcester Public Schools, and I want to bring that all with me. I want to bring it with me. I want to support parents, but I want to be part of the changes. There's a lot of good things happening in our schools. I want to make sure that I'm there to see them through, but also to make sure that our community at large is a part of those decisions, and that our students and families are part of the process. We don't want 1776 pack in our schools. Thank you.
Sienna, you have now 1 minute.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
You now have 1 minute.
1 minute for
The closing
the
statement.
closing statement? Oh, okay. I thought I had more than that. I'm sorry. I will try to go really fast so I can say all that I want to say. First of all, as a parent, I have firsthand experience with navigating through all of this red tape of the Worcester Public Schools. My opponent mentioned that, oh yes, there's some after-school program you can go to the technical school. Over 1,000 kids apply for that, only 200 spots get filled. So many students do not have the opportunity to go to all those extra programs that I was mentioning that are not available to almost most of the kids in Worcester schools. So number one. Number two, as a realtor, I also work full-time as a realtor. I have to be honest with people, but I also am out in the community. I'm talking to people. I am everywhere, and I am involved in the community. Number three, also as a parent, I get to know the problems like Nellie mentioned about the IEPs. I have a student that needed to be on an IEP. When they got evaluated, they were told, oh, they don't qualify because they only had one thing. They only had a delay in processing. Well, a delay in processing still means they need to have accommodations. So we need to definitely reevaluate how we do with the special ed students, but also the teachers. We need to evaluate how many teachers we need to have and have the right amount of staff for the students that need the help. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy, it's your turn now.
First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to discuss the future of our schools. And as your incumbent in District D, I fought every day to make Worcester Public Schools safer and stronger for every child, because that's what our families deserve. Over the past 2 years, we've seen progress, but there's more work to do. I voted to reinstate school resource officers in high schools, push back against distractions like cell phones in classrooms that pull kids from learning, and I advocate for school safety all the time. I believe that we need to further look into and get rid of bullying. We have to look into mental health, safe walking routes in neighborhoods. Equity isn't just a buzzword for me. It's ensuring every student, whether walking, biking, or busing, has access to resources that close academic gaps. My opponent seems to talk a good game on parent voices, but I've been living it, and I've been that voice for our families. And I humbly ask for your vote on November 4th.
Thank you. Diana, you have 1 minute for closing statement.
Thank you for joining us tonight, and as a lifelong resident of District C, I have worked and volunteered in our district. As a school committee member, I have advocated for increased opportunities for 24,000 students. We increased to 30 hands-on programs under Chapter 74. I've also negotiated union contracts that have been accepted with my colleagues. I ask for your vote. I ask the tough questions. I stay engaged. I value and support our staff. My name is Diana Biancaria. I'm asking for your vote, but I'll tell you something else, folks. I'm glad you're here tonight, because tonight is just an example of community involvement. What I'm asking people to do is, yes, I'm humbly asking for your vote, but get out and vote. Bring a friend to vote. We have to show we are a strong city, we are strong districts, and the only way we can accomplish that is by showing up at the booth. Thank you.
Well, I'm Paul Matthews from the Worcester Regional Research Bureau. I want to thank everyone involved with this evening. I also want to thank our partners, our gracious and generous hosts here at Mechanics Hall, and the Telegram and Gazette for not only opening it off, my friend Mike McDermott, but also Rick and his incredible job with posting the video, which will be up by tomorrow. I also want to thank our other media partners, WCCA, Unity Radio. There are a whole host of others here, so thank you very much. I also just want to point out a couple things. One is the Bureau itself, in addition to these debates, just came out today with a biennial guide we offer, questions for the candidates. So there were copies outside. Feel free to grab one. It is online for those of you viewing at home at wrrb.org. I also want to point out there are some key dates coming up. October 25th is the voter registration deadline. The 25th to the 31st, yes, Halloween, is early voting. And Tuesday, November 4th, is our election day. So please do mark your calendars accordingly. You should also mark your calendars for the upcoming debates, so we're not done, folks. Next Wednesday, don't show up on Saturday for a debate. On Wednesday, October 8th, we're here with the at-large city council race. And then on October 15th, the contested district city council. And finally, we wrap it up on October 29th with a mayoral debate. So please do return. Those of you watching online, please look for the videos on WCCA and the Telegram. And lastly, I want to thank the candidates tonight for respecting the time frame, respecting each other, and respecting the issues that are in front. I want to thank the audience for doing the same. And I want to thank our moderators, who did a fantastic job with a lot of questions that covered a lot of substance. So let's give everyone a round of applause. So don't forget to vote, and we hope to see you next Wednesday.